Hi, I'm Omar Daknish. You saw me in an ambulance in Aleppo, the city of Syria, back in 2016 when Russian airstrikes destroyed my home. I was 3 then, today I'm almost 9. Please watch my friend's YouTube channel.
We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, you start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
I am Patrick McGugan, John Drake, but you also know me as Number 6. Who was I, really? I represented you, the private citizen. It was symbolism of the socialist world order we see today. You didn't get it, did you? Now we all are facing this reality, that all are controlled by the New World Order.
Lastwagen. Das Auto.
What I'm going to share with you, you're not going to learn it from a history book anymore. When I was in school, you learned about socialism, you learned about communism because these things were evil and the United States fought against them. Today, they embrace them. And all you got to do is see how on the internet they suppress our freedom of speech. That's only one stage, one part of it. The title of this video, if you've already seen it, it's called Recession to Depression. The point is of why I'm doing the video is to bring out the fact that in 1929, almost 100 years ago, the United States faced a total economic collapse in this nation. And now the United States is in, really, it's the worst inflation we've had probably in 50 years. But the socialists aren't going to tell you these things because the media lies anyway. They tell you only what the socialists want you to know. And bringing up dates, if anybody remembers, in the last 4 years, the socialists themselves, the globalists, said by 2031 the United States and the world would just, it would be eliminated. The world would end in 2031. That's what they said. Now people say, oh, well, they were wrong. And it's like, really? Are we supposed to just say because now you say something else, we're supposed to just accept the fact that they brought up a lie to begin with? The socialists lie because it's an end to a means for them. And inflation is an obvious step of what they're doing, not only in the United States, but all over the world. And that's to create this new world order, which is a one global government system. And what will be the outcome of this is, first and most importantly, the United States' economic system, they're going to totally eliminate it. The Democrats, the socialists are doing it right now in Washington. They're using all these other tactics that they've been using since coronavirus started to keep people upset, agitated, incited about what the communist plan is, which is to eliminate private ownership. That's a proletariat. That's suppression. That's what communism, that's what socialism is all about. The only outcome of an inflation is a recession. Now, Joe Biden said it the day he took office, after he manipulated everything, after he cheated. He told the American people, we're going to go totally green energy, and that means you're going to have to buy an electric car, and they said we're going to force you to buy one. And that's exactly word for word what Chavez in Venezuela told his people 70 years ago in the 1950s. He said to every person, you're now in a communist country, you're going to do what we tell you to, and he made every person in Venezuela buy an electric car. And today, if you even know what's going on in Venezuela, they have no power half the time. The whole country is now under a dictatorship. And the United States faced that in 2009 when Barack Hussein Obama became the United States' first dictator and forced socialism on the United States. And it's been progressing ever since. And you can laugh your head off about that, but I am telling you, they're not going to stop until everything in terms of civilized nations around the world conform to this new world order. That's their plan. The new world order is the ultimate outcome of everything the socialists are doing today. Now, I don't see it as a coincidence that we're almost at 100 years since the last depression in the United States. And at that time, even though things were really, really bad, there was a difference between people then and now. They knew how to deal with it. They had been through a First World War. They gave all total nation involvement to help other countries. The United States can't help anybody now because they've destroyed our military, but they've also destroyed all potential chances for us to help any nation because we can't even help ourselves as a nation anymore. That's why Sweden, that's why Finland joined NATO. Now, today, the last 2 days, the media is saying NATO has come out with a report that what Putin is doing in Ukraine is going to last for years as far as the war. Well, this is just, again, their stages of taking out nations around the world who either resist communism, resist socialism, and they're going to keep doing it to every other country until they get total control of everyone. The United States, you would think, we're supposed to be the freest country in the world. And when Biden and the socialists destroyed the integrity of our country's election system, the Cubans were down in Havana protesting, saying, America, freedom. In other words, they were saying, y'all have lost your freedom. You're the last nation on earth that could have actually held everything together for other countries. And now the United States is gone. That's true. We have. Because of complacency. There are no patriots in this country left. They've destroyed the unity of our country because of what happened January 6th, when the socialists planted within those protesters Antifa. And when President Trump, during his re-election, he kept asking Biden, what about Antifa? And this is all that Joe Biden kept saying over and over again. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. And it's like, what does that mean? It means he would not say that Antifa exists. And it did exist, it still exists. That's all a part of the socialists, the Democrats. And I think people just want to pretend it's not this bad. It's not going to get that bad. Y'all were saying that even before y'all got rid of President Trump. I'm not saying everybody got rid of him, but you had Bill Barr walk out within weeks before President Trump's term was over. They abandoned him. That's treason in itself, but it's more important to say the socialists, the Democrats, they'd already bought out all these people, and that's why you saw what happened at the White House. President Trump had all of his cabinet, all of his administration walked out on him because they're all a part of this New World Order program, and that is to destroy the United States and the financial system that is right now. Thank the Lord it's still in place, but I'm telling you, that's why inflation is right now happening, and inevitably they're trying to convince the public, oh no, there's not going to be a recession. Well, they kept saying that about everything else. So it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Now, in 1929, when the Depression started, you had soup kitchens all over the United States. People were out of work. They had no money. Banks foreclosed, shut down. There's something most everybody probably remembers about, and that's the Dust Bowl. This is where those in the Midwest, where they had farms, these people had no money to raise crops for the United States industry, and they had to leave their homes, and these places just became dust bowls because there was nobody out there tilling the ground, planting crops, anything, because of the Depression. There was no money. Do I say that's going to happen this time? Well, it may not be a dust bowl, but I'm telling you, the socialists, the communists have done so much already to destroy our nation. They're using technology now to do it. They're not using, per se, other means like through the Federal Reserve banks. Because there are banks all over the world that are a part of this consortium of groups making up what is the New World Order. It's the Bilderberg Group. It's these groups that they control other countries' financial systems. And Barack Obama said it in 2012. He said, that's here. That's done. In other words, he's saying the financial systems of the world have already come into conformity to bring about the total elimination of every country's financial system. I'm talking civilizations. Civilized nations are those countries like England, France, Germany. Of course, China is already communistic, and they're practically sitting there giving Putin every assistance he needs because they're all a part of that same group. They're all a part of the financial system that's collapsing our country, collapsing the world's economies, because it's all going to come into this one consortium and it's called the New World Order. I did a video 2 weeks ago called A Definition of the North American Union. People deny that there is such a thing. It's already happened. That's why they let the Mexicans come across the border and they don't stop them, because they're saying we're all a part of the same continent now. The New World Order established the North American Union because it's all going to be a part of this global system. This global government is going to be part of what Barack Obama started. He put his puppet in the White House, and that's Joe Biden. Biden, if they get rid of him, and I'm saying the socialists, they get rid of him in 2024, all they're going to do is put Kamala Harris, who is the same exact person, and this way they continue until the whole process is completed. Then everything you have, private ownership, ends, because they've already eliminated capitalism. They've already eliminated free enterprise. The media won't tell you things, but sometimes they have to tell people that, for example, the feds are raising interest rates. You know, the stock market's collapsing. I mean, they've been telling us that for 12 years because they know it's going to happen. The socialists and their plan for this country's demise is not going to stop until they've completed it. 2024 is supposed to be the next solar eclipse. In 2017, there was another solar eclipse. I bring that out because God is showing us his signs. He's saying man's demise without Jesus Christ returning is close at hand. And all this showing is the Antichrist is already here, and his plan is to destroy everything and anybody that stands up for the gospel, who stands up for what's right, who wants to do what's right. That's why the kids, the liberals, the progressives, they don't work, because the socialists tell them, don't work because it helps to collapse the financial system faster. Nobody wants to work, so therefore the socialists are happy, and they're like, just stay with your parents, you know. They didn't care. When you were born, they let you just do whatever you wanted to do. They didn't teach you nothing. And then when you went to school, did they teach you anything? Yeah, critical race theory. And now it's just coming out that, hey, for 30 years your kid's been brainwashed through critical race theory. And again, it's all an end to a means for the socialists. Do it until the whole system collapses. And they're thinking somehow it's all going to be so much better. That's idiocy, folks. I'm sorry. That's idiocy. Nothing is better if you look at history, which they won't teach kids in school anymore. History has proven that communism was a failure. It failed in Nazi Germany. It failed in Russia. It collapsed in 1989. And now what's Putin doing? He's brought it right back again and said, oh, we're going to just reestablish ourselves, and we're going to pull all of what was the Soviet Union together. We're going to take out all the other countries that were independent, that were a part of the Soviet Union. And that's why NATO is saying it's going to be years for this war, because he's not going to stop until he reacquires all of Europe and all of everything else. And that's why he's not going to stop in his attacks. What can America do? Nothing. Because people have given up. People in this country have no patriotism. They have no will to resist communism and socialism. If you did, you would have never let what happened in 2020 happen. But you did. And you said, who cares? So guess what? Live with it. Because now that's all there is in this country. Communism and socialism is all America will be, and all your children will have as a posterity is a reality that you didn't do anything for their good. You didn't do anything to help bring this country together. You didn't do anything to bring this country to a united resistance against socialism and against communism. And because of it, your children will live under a slave regime that will eliminate private property and it will eliminate everything else about your country and about you. And all you're going to have is just the fond memories of what it used to be in America, and there'll be nothing else because the socialists have already wiped it out. That is everything that is a part of why we see the things we're going through, and nobody cares about nothing. They don't do anything. And I say live with it. You know, your ancestors fought for the freedoms of our nation. And when you gave up in 2020, when you gave up after the Antifa caused all the incitement and all the rest, they called American citizens domestic terrorists. They called American citizens insurgents. Man, there should have been charges against the socialists at that moment. They should have said, you are committing treason against the people of the United States when you make accusations. And they had no other proof except for trying to manipulate what they saw and what they know happened at the Capitol. And that's why they've got to keep it in the public eye with these constant hearings and all the rest of it. They got to convince the public that it's happening. But you, as an American, have no real freedom. You have no rights to do anything because they've already proven it. This shirt is a very good indicator. Putin said when he started attacking Ukraine, he says, I'm going to use nuclear weapons on Ukraine if they don't surrender. Now, what did Biden say? He ain't going to do it. He didn't care. What's Biden done since? Nothing. Did he do anything in Afghanistan? No. Does the media talk about it? No. Why? The media is controlled by the communists, by the socialists, the liberals. And nobody cares. So, that's it. Give up. You know? Here, put the handcuffs on me. You know? That's what America's saying. We don't care what happens to our country anymore. That's why Coca-Cola conforms to socialism, and that's where that word woke came from. Because Coca-Cola was the first industrialized company to admit we conform to socialism. We conform to communism. And that's why in my videos I try to bring up the fact these are the first signs of what socialists do. They wipe out everything. And then you as an American have nothing. But nobody cares. Nobody does. So I will keep trying to share as long as I can on Vimeo, on Rumble, on YouTube, and the socialist pigs who are out there paid by the communists to silence people who try to bring out these facts. They're not going to stop because all they care about is making money, and they'll get it from anybody that gives it to them. Communists, socialists, totalitarians, all the rest of them. This is a proletariat government. And the American people are indifferent to it, and they say, who cares as long as I've got my family. I've got my kids. Well, your kids are brainwashed because they're learning all this stuff through critical race theory. And that's why people don't care. They figure, what can I do, you know? So, the next stage is the recession and then depression. Depression means they totally wiped out our whole financial system. The Federal Reserve Bank's gone. There's nothing else left. Then the government comes to your home and says everything you have is ours. There's no private ownership of anything anymore. Take it. They'll take it away from you and they'll say, just like Barack Obama told Joe the plumber, you and what you earned all your life is ours to have and control and use for whatever purposes we intend it to be used for. And Joe Plumber, he was like, well, wait a minute, what about the fact that I earned it? I worked for that. Obama said, big deal. That's what the communists say to us. You're not entitled to nothing. We're going to decide where it goes, who's going to use it, everything. And people still look at Joe Biden and say, oh, well, you know, he's not that bad. It's like Joe Biden was his vice president. And you say he doesn't believe in socialism? Yeah, Joe Biden kept saying, do I look like a communist? Do I look like a socialist? And I'm like, it ain't about what you look like, Joe Biden. You can be the ugliest dog on earth, and still, if you believe in communism and you practice socialism, you are a socialist. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's what you believe in and what you practice. That's America. That's what you think you're going to make a difference in the midterms. If they manipulated it once, they're going to manipulate it every single time. And at least here in Georgia, you've got Raphael Warnock, who is a Marxist. He admits it. He admits he's a Marxist. And people voted him in. And they still are like, well, so we got a Marxist, big deal. Marxists were in Nazi Germany in 1934, 1935. There's pictures of the Nazis with signs up saying Marxism in German. You know, and it's like, Raphael Warnock says he's a Marxist, and you guys just shrug your shoulders and say, who cares? You know? So, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And there's nothing more anybody can say to a complacent mind who accepts communism and accepts socialism. That's it. That's all you've got now, because that's all you wanted. That's all you got. So thank you for letting me share this video today, and I hope you'll come back, because if we are still here in the next year or so, you know, who knows.
Rated PG-13.